Welcome to another That's What They Said, a podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Sarina Morales and Scott Spinelli talking MMMbop by Hanson.
Yes,
MMMbop.
and it is a true question. Which one of us put this on here? You would think it's a lock for me, Sarina, and I think it was, but it's not out of the question that it was me, right?
It was my dog. It's the only song she can sing along to.
Oh, your dog did it. It is, but like, I think my point is you would think that I would never be the one to do it. I think there's at least a 10% chance I'd put this on there.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, my point is that I'm not as anti this song as you might anticipate me being.
I appreciate that, because there are other songs where you're very anti. And
well, yeah, something that's like this, but at any rate, go ahead. Sorry.
well, it's a popular song. Everyone knows it. You don't not know it. No one knows what MMMbop means unless you.
We're gonna tell you.
We're gonna tell you. But yeah, it was like the biggest hit in the world by three little boys that look like three little girls. You know, the drummer doesn't look like he's old enough to even ride a bike. But
so before we get into anything more with the song, I just have to say, I was under the impression there were way more than three of these guys. Because
they all look alike, so they could duplicate themselves.
I truly believe there were like six of them. I honestly thought it was just like this big conglomerate of Hanson brothers. That was when I was reading about them today, I was like, fuck, there was only three of these guys the whole time. So that was funny to me that I didn't know that. Number two, to the point that you just made about like how young they looked, I was like, how old were they? Because when I was looking it up, in my mind, and I think we're on the same page here, that we both thought these were like the kid playing the drums was 5 years old, 4. Yes. You know, he looked like a child.
Yes.
Turns out they were 11, 14, and 16 at the time of the MMMbop craze, like when that first began. So that was older than I thought it was, honestly.
Yeah. Although when you do think that an 11-year-old is like going on a world tour,
yeah,
that is a little. Like I watch like Little League baseball and I'm like, okay, you know, your parents are all there in the stands.
I have to say, by the way, I know this has nothing to do with it, but just because you brought it up, it's one of the things I think is weirdest in sports that we're all into Little League sports. Why? Why is that a thing? I mean, if I said to you right now in the town you live in, I'm going to give you $40 and you have to go watch Little League baseball in your town, you'd be like, no way. I said, no way. I'm not watching my town's Little League baseball. Yet for some reason we put it on ESPN. I don't understand.
They do. They've made it very popular.
Why are we watching this? Why? Why does anybody want to watch this? I'm honestly asking.
Right, we have professionals. Like let them marinate a little bit.
Absolutely, but you're not interested in this at a local level. Why do we care? I barely want to watch my own niece play. You know what I mean? Like I do because I'm happy to watch her succeed, but it's not like every game I'm like, oh, I gotta get there for this. This is as if the whole world wanted to watch my niece. I don't understand. I just don't get it. It's a beef. It's a question I've always had, and I've always been arguing about this. But it's so weird to me that the Little League sports on TV is a thing. Makes no sense. All parents do is complain about having to go and drive their kids back and forth.
Yeah.
Family members don't go unless they're requested to go by the people playing. You know what I mean? Like your aunt will show up for no reason. Yet it's on the biggest sports network in the country and perhaps the world.
Yeah.
And it's an enormous event.
Every year. Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
You're right. It's a big deal. It's like Jonathan coaches in it. Yeah, no, I mean, I watch Little League baseball all the time because he's a coach, but like I go because I have a reason.
If he wasn't coaching, if he became a coach of youth basketball for some reason, you wouldn't say to him, I really enjoyed watching those kids play baseball. That would be weird. That would be psychotic and weird. Perhaps we have to put you on one of those lists that you when you move to a certain town, right?
That's just drinking my wine out of a coffee can. Yes.
Yet it's on ESPN in the middle of the day, and it's the coolest thing ever. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Bop.
I guess, right?
I went back and I looked because the song came out April 15, 1997. A lot of good music in 97. Like just like the hot top 100 like singles had, I mean, Jewel, Tony Braxton, R. Kelly. We always seem to get R. Kelly in there. In Vogue, Usher.
What R. Kelly song was it?
Let me see. I Believe I Can Fly. Like, this
That
is
is a great
Space
song.
Jam time.
You know,
Monica. Yeah, it was just
it
like,
is unfortunate as we're nearing the end of season 1
yeah.
here, that we have touched on Robert a number of times, but we could do a whole season on R. Kelly because
Oof, we sure could.
yeah, I know we're not going to, but that's for my Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over R. Kelly songs by himself because no one wants to put their name on a thing where they're debating R. Kelly.
Yeah, no, that's not
But
going to help either of us.
it's not. But I just that song is great. My one question or comment to there were so many good things in 1997.
Mhm.
You know, that theory, right? It's some version of like the songs you like are the songs you were a teenager in high school, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I
Mhm.
wonder because in 97 we were 11, 12 years old,
Mhm.
right? Like
The same age as that kid in Hanson.
exactly. That's a good point. Um, that I wonder if everyone feels that way about like the Billboard 100 from when they were 12,
Yeah.
right?
Just call us, please, as we
Yeah,
wrap
please.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, just a thought. But anyway, yeah.
That is a good point. They're like, oh, I hated my music and when I was 10 years old.
I would imagine people
Smoking
feel similar.
cigarettes that made me depressed.
I work. They're all New Yorkers in that scenario.
Just no matter where you're from, you became a New
Sounds like a
Yorker.
grizzled New Yorker. Yeah.
Surprisingly, but not so surprisingly, the song was written by the Hanson brothers.
Yes. Yeah. And it was nominated for 2 Grammys, I believe.
It was. There were other options. I just gave you them, but
Yes.
that's
Well,
fine.
did you have more that you wanted to talk about? Because
No, it was the lead single from their first full length studio album, Middle of Nowhere. That's kind of how I feel when I listen to this song, and it was #1 on the Billboard in many different countries outside of the U.S., Iceland,
I think
Switzerland.
13 different countries, and then where I
Yeah.
read it, platinum in 7. Um, it is one of those songs that was ubiquitous. It was obviously,
Yes.
and I would add on top of that that it is just it is well, we can get into we'll talk about the lyrics in a second, but yeah,
Okay.
it was everywhere,
Everywhere.
and yeah,
It
it
was
was
in the
everywhere.
middle of nowhere.
Oh, that was the other thing. That it
Oh,
was not they did have a couple other records that were like independent demo type records. And
yes.
really, I think people don't know, or maybe people that you and I do not know, because I didn't know this, and I suspect you're not a closet super fan of Hanson. They
I don't
still
have their t-shirt.
touring and are doing things like
Yeah.
my girlfriend, who I know I recently
Hmm.
introduced to the fact that this is a thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Good. Good.
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
get into
Good.
her personal details right now.
I'm
Uh,
listening.
but she was recently somewhere where they were touring, rather, excuse me, they were playing, and like she was saying to me, like she's a big fan of them. You know, they're old, they're not like their newer stuff necessarily, but
Their current stuff. I could care less about them, Bob.
I don't really mess with the early Hanson years. That's trash. Like an MMMbop, a Hanson purist, quite frankly, when they all became legal. No, but she was saying to me that like she expected to almost be there, and she was surprised, I should say, about how many people were at this show that she was at that knew all the lyrics, that knew like what was going on, the
Of their
hand,
new stuff.
yeah, of not just the main song is the point. Like they other stuff, and they have a lot of new records. They have a record from I think 2022. At least the last 10 years, they've had I think 3 or 4 records. So they're doing stuff still.
Well, thank you to your girlfriend for putting us both. She should probably do this podcast because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, she's hosting V2 of this.
Yeah. The B-side.
That's it.
So MMMbop. Let's just get straight to it, because in an interview, Zach Hanson, one of the brothers, was asked, what does MMMbop mean? And again, these kids wrote this song, and then they were nominated for Grammys. MMMbop represents a frame of time or the fertility of life, things that are going to be gone, whether it's your age, and your youth, or maybe the money you have, or whatever it is. And all that's going to be left are the people you've nurtured and really built to be your backbone and your support system.
And to go further, they also said that it was started as a background part during a making of a previous independent album called Boomerang. And when they were looking for background parts of a song, somebody started singing what became that chorus. So it,
Yes,
much like last week's with the Scooby Dooby Doo, like this had that same feeling of like they were just tooling around, except it made it into the song. But it
yes,
originally, at least, was not something where they're like, let's work off of this idea. I think they just liked it, and then it
they
became.
kept it.
So here's okay. So
MMMbop
my first thing,
sounds like a baby. Like a parent goes, "Oh, the kid said like Seth Rogen should shave his hair off." Like, how are you making that up from? Oh, it's about life and this. Like, you made up a word and you threw it in the dictionary.
Mbop is a made up thing. To me, I'm more fascinated by the two elements of the song that I'm most fascinated by are how is it possible that the gibberish of the chorus is the most understandable of all the lyrics?
Yes.
Right? How is that possible? Today I'm studying, reading up on the song, reading the lyrics.
You had no idea what they were singing.
No idea what they were singing. Not at all. And normally when I edit this, I will cut out us saying the lyric because you don't really need us to say it along with the actual thing. I'm going to keep us in saying what it is that they're saying because you won't know otherwise. Right?
You're so right. I didn't know any of these lyrics at all.
None. Not one. Not a one. Just nothing. It's just all nothing. Mbop heard that clearly, loud and clear. Got it entirely. Right?
We
So
understand gibberish better
I
than
don't
them.
get it. And so the other thing about this song is how insanely dark. I mean, we'll get into this in the lyrics, but like I didn't realize. I suppose it's obvious that I didn't realize it because I didn't understand the fucking lyrics. Like, of course,
He
yeah,
died.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, do you want to take the first lyric, or what do you want to do?
I mean, the first lyric, literally the first verse, you have so many relationships in this life. Darkness arrives early. Only one or two will last. You go through all the pain and strife, then you turn your back and they're gone so fast. They're way too young. I mean, this is like
Yes.
your first grade girlfriend no longer sitting with you at the lunch table. I don't
Yes.
know. Like, what do you mean one or two will last? Everyone dies at the end of the movie? That's
Couldn't agree more. I mean, honestly, this I wrote the same thing. Basically, like they do not have even close to the amount of life experience needed. This is like John Mayer, slow dancing in a burning room level dark. How like sad this shit is. And these kids are 11, 14, and 16.
and they're like,
writing
only one or two will last.
And so then that made me think there's three people in this band. By the way, they're describing it. One of the brothers isn't even going to make it.
And then I would make you didn't even count correctly.
Only one or two will last. So that means, what was it? They were Ike, Taylor, and Zach. They weren't, not all three of them were going
See
to
you
make
later,
it.
Ike. See you later.
One of you guys is going to die. Hate to say that, but good luck. It's so dark.
It's so bad.
Also,
Yes.
another one where they say the lyric is something, it's something like, and when you get old and start losing your hair,
I wrote that
that's
down.
something. I wrote that because I was like, these dudes have the greatest hair I've ever seen. Like I've watched them now, like videos on them now, and it is remarkable. The youngest kid's hair is like a chia pet hair. It is like just it's almost too thick, if that could be a thing. You know, like I don't know if that makes sense, but like his hair is so thick it looks fake, the youngest kid. And then the other ones all have good hair too. Like they had at the time, they do now. Yeah. So
This was the biggest concern for them. They were like,
yeah.
"Oh, we're young," and so they're like, "Oh, and when you get old and you start losing your hair, can you tell me who will still care?" That's
What
your worry.
16-year-old gives a shit about that? If
Again,
they have hair that they do at that time. If you're one
right?
of these kids that's unfortunate where you start prematurely losing your hair at
No.
16, 17, whatever, sure. That was not the case with these kids. They did not have that
Way
problem.
close to balding. Maybe both their parents are bald. I don't know. Like,
Even if it was a weird thing for a 16-year-old to be concerned about. And
yes.
also, again, almost offensive to the people who have lost their hair when they see these dudes look like it's just dump water on them and grow. Like, and in every interview, their hair is like, again, even as adults, their hair's like styled in
Yes.
a fucking cool way. Like,
Yes.
and it's like back in the day, you know, they like you said, they looked almost effeminate with the way they styled their hair
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
But now, like some of these guys, like yeah, they for what they might lack in looks, although I think some of them are good looking or not. I can't really judge that.
Yeah.
Their hair specifically is on point.
Fantastic. I mean, they made Justin Bieber look bad. Like, what are you
Yes.
doing? Yeah. Nah. And then I get to the MMMbop, boo dooba dop,
Yes.
badaba dooba dop. So like they said, oh yeah, I'll give you what MMMbop means, but the rest of it, we also have what happened.
Tons more gibberish where that came from. I mean, again, I said this last week, but it warrants being said again. This song cements the idea that the fewer actual words in your chorus, the higher likelihood you're going to be globally successful. And while we're joking about that a little bit, it is true. They've said it as much in interviews. People can sing along in other countries when the lyrics are not actual words.
Like Eiffel 65. Boom.
Yes.
Perfect example. Sly and the Family, another one. Shooby dooby dooby. We all sang it.
That's a thing. I mean, it just is. And so it sounds silly, but like that's how you're able. I mean, listen, people will remember whatever they want to remember. Ball with the ball. You know, like
yes.
I'm going through our list of songs here, but like there's the more basic and or the more generic in terms of the chorus. Maybe not the lyrics themselves, but most people don't sing along to the verse anyway. You sing along to the chorus in every song. And so if the chorus has a part that is generic and or just straight up gibberish, that's usually a good starting block.
Yeah, which is why this one was the top song in the world. They did write in an MMMbop, they're gone. Did you note that? And I was like, oh, you at least utilize the made up word that you in a sentence. I wonder if if I had to look that up. Oh, it means in an MMMbop, use it in a sentence. And an MMMbop, they're gone.
I think of it like the spelling bee. Like we're like, all right, the word is bop. You give me the country of origin, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Use it in a sentence. Okay, in an MMMbop. Can you use it in another sentence? No.
No, there's only one.
One sentence, and the sentence is in an MMMbop, they're gone. And we have to remind you that spelling counts here. This is the spelling bee, as does capitalization. So you're ready to go. Capital M, capital M, capital M.
And then lowercase B-O-P.
Yes.
There's no H or like a
Yeah, the way I read this is it's like they were eating. That's how I hear it. I don't know about you, but that's how I hear it.
I hope that you appreciated this next lyric as much as I did, because it made no sense. It might as well have been gibberish. Plant a seed, plant a flower, plant a rose. You can plant any of those.
Yeah. So, okay, so then, keep planting to find out which one grows. Thank you. All the same fucking thing. I mean, again, much like last week, I get what you're going for. The idea of all relationships they're not all going to work. Some need this, some need that. Some people you got to talk to all the time. Some people, that you need this from them. And right, I get that. But like plant a seed, plant a flower, plant a rose. Those are the same things in just different.
Right. Growth periods.
Plant a tomato plant. Plant seed.
Ketchup, tomato paste. Like, what's going on? And then he's like, you can plant any of those. Thank you for giving me permission. Keep planting to find out which one grows. It's a secret. No one knows. I'm like, you know what? I bet if you asked your gardener,
they'll know. They'll know.
It makes also no sense. A seed grows, a flower is technically already grown, and a rose is a flower, and it's also a. What?
This is the kind of shit that like Dr. Seuss would have said, no, let's give another pass on this. Plant a seed, plant a flower, plant a rose. See which one grows. It's like, here, there, everywhere. It's got a very like.
You're right.
It's got a Seussian feel to it.
What the what?
Yeah, Seussian. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Can you tell me?" Oh, no, you can't, because you don't know. And then he's like, "No, you really, you can't tell me because you don't know."
To be clear, you really can't. You don't know. So if you want it, if you think you can do it, you're wrong. You can't.
Like, you're fighting with yourself. Like, no one's arguing with you, bro.
Amen. No argument. None. Yeah.
No, you don't know. I tell you. No. Oh. And then he goes back to MMMbop.
In an MMMbop. Well, it's just like
what?
Yeah. You know what's funny too? This is ignorant, but there's a French soccer player. I think he's French, right? MBAPE. You know what I'm talking about? That guy?
Yes. Mbappe.
Yes. I don't know anything about soccer. I was at a Nets game this year that he was at, and his name pops up. They do like who's in the house, and they show him, and his name shows up, and I'm like, this dude's name, I don't know how to pronounce. How do you pronounce it actually?
Mbappe.
Yeah. I was like, that to me is Hanson's song that came to life as a beautiful world-class athlete.
Yes.
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Mbappe, dip-a-dap-a-doo. Like, that's who he is. Yeah.
That should be his like walk-up song if they had that in soccer.
Scores a goal, they play the song.
Yes. Oh, that was it for lyrics. For me, I was like, I can't. What the hell did we just listen to?
I'm reiterating that it is. I think the point of the song is an interesting song, and it's kind of it's a good idea, I guess.
Good concept. Good concept.
But it just really struck me as like you've poked this bear a bunch where we haven't done one of his songs in a while, but the Max Martin thing of like writing adult themes for children, but specifically like sexualized adult stuff, which is weird, right? This is adult, but not weird. It's just it's odd in the sense that kids don't typically understand or have processed or have dealt with loss in this way. So and everywhere I read, they didn't really say like, oh, unfortunately, like we were really close with our grandmother, she passed, or when we became really famous, like this would make more sense, frankly, as like their third huge single, because all their friends stopped being their friends, right? When they became world famous. Like it just doesn't make sense that like children could write this song because on what grounds? What basis? Yeah.
Do you understand life to that depth? And to that point, in the music video, it highlights just how unaware they are of any issues in their lives, because the whole thing, I think, like,
it's just them frolicking around, right? Like
that's it. They're carefree, roller skating, running around the beach, dancing in front of a bad green screen. I'm like, maybe you should do your homework, but you don't care because you're a famous rock group now that is going to tour around the world. What do you care about? Anything, but your lyrics sure seem to make us think you do.
And I believe they're super Christian or super religious, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Like, a lot of like the forgiveness thing, like it just seems odd that like, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's just odd that like they're even looking to explain loss in any way. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about, like why it is that they were even thinking along these lines. But
final thoughts on MMMbop.
Like I said, surprised they're still cooking. They are.
Wow,
and apparently they put on a pretty good show.
We should go to like old bands tour, like a couple of their concerts. Review that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to do that. I'll have to talk to my team.
He'll get back to me in an MMMbop. In the meantime, please catch us on YouTube and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and iTunes, and we'll catch you on another time.